Have you ever been sitting with your cat, not during anything special, just a random Tuesday, and felt something you couldn't quite explain? Not sadness, not exactly happiness either. Something bigger, something that felt almost too large for such a quiet moment, and then you just let it go. Told yourself you were tired, moved on. Most people think what they feel in those moments is simple. I just really love my cat. That's it. That's the whole story. But what if it's not? What if the way you love your cat is actually one of the most honest things about who you are and where you came from? In this video, I'm going to walk you through what your relationship with your cat is really telling you about yourself. Not about the cat, about you. And it's backed by real science. Real psychology. The kind that's going to make you stop and think, how did I never see this before? Stay with me all the way to the end, because the last thing we talk about is the one that hits the hardest. The one that most cat owners carry quietly for years without ever having the words for it. Let's start with something you probably do every single day without thinking about it. You're in the kitchen. Your cat is somewhere else in the house, sleeping. You finish making your coffee, pick up your mug, and before you sit down, you check. Not because anything happened, not because they made a sound. You just need to know where they are. And if you can't find them right away, something shifts inside you. Just a little. Just enough to notice, until you spot them. And then everything settles again. You probably think that's just love. Just what you do when you care about something. But here's what psychology actually says about that. There's a term for it: proximity seeking. It's something humans are literally wired to do. A psychiatrist named John Bowlby spent decades studying how people form emotional bonds, and what he found was this: when we feel safe with someone, we want to stay close to them. Not because we're clingy, not because something is wrong with us, because our nervous system learned, somewhere along the way, that having a safe, reliable presence nearby is what calm feels like. And here's the part that matters. If you grew up in a home where things felt unpredictable, where love felt uncertain, or where you never quite knew what mood someone would be in, your nervous system had to work overtime just to feel okay. It stayed on alert. It kept scanning, looking for something stable to hold on to. Your cat became that something. You're not checking on your cat out of habit. You're doing what a part of you learned to do a long time ago, looking for the safe thing, making sure it's still there. You're not weird for doing this. You are someone whose nervous system once had to search hard for safety and finally found it. Someone in our community said they used to feel embarrassed about how often they thought about their cat during the day. They'd imagine where they were sitting at home, whether they were comfortable, whether they were okay. They thought it was strange. But when they understood it wasn't about the cat, it was about their nervous system finally having something reliable to return to, the embarrassment disappeared. What took its place was something softer: compassion, for how long they had gone without that feeling. So the next time you catch yourself checking on your cat for no obvious reason, notice what happens in your body when you find them. That feeling right there, it has a history, and it's been asking to be recognized for a long time. Now think about something else. Think about what your cat has never done to you. They have never been warm and loving in the morning and then cold and distant by the afternoon for no reason. They have never made you feel like you had to earn their affection. They have never punished you with silence. They have never made you feel like too much or not enough. And you probably just think, well, that's just how cats are. Simple. Consistent. But there's a name for what your cat is giving you. Psychologists call it emotional constancy. It means the love doesn't change. It doesn't disappear when you have a bad day. It doesn't shift based on your mood or your performance or whether you said the right thing. When a child grows up with that kind of consistency from their parents, they develop something incredibly important inside: a quiet confidence, a belief that love is stable, that they don't have to monitor it, manage it, or be on their best behaviour to keep it. But when that consistency isn't there, when a parent's warmth comes and goes depending on their own stress, their own moods, their own unresolved pain, the child learns something very different. They learn that love is unpredictable, that the safest thing to do is stay careful, stay small, stay ready for it to change. If that sounds familiar, your cat may be giving you something you didn't get enough of growing up. Not just love, steady love. Love that doesn't keep you guessing. You're not just a cat person. You may be someone who found, in this one relationship, the first experience of love that didn't require constant management. Love that was simply there, every day, unchanged. A member of this community once wrote, in a comment they almost didn't post, that their cat was the first relationship in their life where they didn't feel like they had to earn it. They were 43 years old when they wrote that, and they said it was the first time they had admitted it anywhere. The next time your cat just sits near you, wanting absolutely nothing from you, pay attention to how that feels, because that feeling has a history too. Now, this next part is the one that tends to surprise people the most, so stay with me here. Your cat may actually understand your emotional state better in certain moments than some of the adults who raised you did. I know that sounds like a lot. So let me show you the science behind it. A study published in a research journal called Animal Cognition found that cats actively watch their owners. They read facial expressions, body language, the tone of your voice, and they adjust how they behave based on what they observe. They're not doing this with every person who walks in the door. They're doing it specifically with you. Another study from the University of Lincoln found that cats use their primary owner as an emotional anchor. When you're stressed, even before you've consciously registered that you're stressed, your cat is already picking up on it, moving closer, adjusting, responding. Now compare that to something a psychologist named Daniel Stern discovered about early childhood. He found that one of the most important things a parent can give a child is what he called attunement, meaning the ability to accurately read what the child is feeling on the inside, not just what they're doing on the outside, and to respond to it with warmth. When a child experiences that consistently, they grow up with something solid in them, a sense that their inner world is real, that it matters, that the people who love them can actually see it. When that attunement isn't there, when a parent misses what the child is actually feeling, or dismisses it, or is too caught up in their own world to notice, the child grows up with a quiet question they can never quite answer. Am I being seen? Does what I feel actually matter? Your cat answers that question every day, without words. They find you when your quiet is different from your usual quiet. They sit with you when something is off, even when nothing visible has changed. Clinically, your cat is reading your emotional signals in real time and responding directly to them. In plain terms, your cat sees you, sometimes more clearly than people who are supposed to. Someone in our community shared something that I keep coming back to. They said they had never been able to cry easily. Not in therapy, not with close friends, not even alone, but with their cat on their lap, tears just came, without trying, without warning. When they learned what we're talking about right now, they finally understood why. The body allows itself to feel when it trusts that whoever is there won't judge it, won't pull away, won't make it awkward. Their cat had become the safest witness they had ever had. Over the next few days, pay attention to when your cat seeks you out. Think about what you were feeling in the moments before they arrived. You might start to notice something that surprises you. I want to pause here and ask you something. Has your cat ever shown up for you, quietly, without being called, during one of the hardest moments of your life? A moment where you weren't saying anything out loud, but their being there made it just slightly more bearable? If you're comfortable, share it in the comments. These stories matter more than you know. Not just to me, but to everyone watching right now, who is wondering if what they feel is something they're carrying alone. They're not. And your story is proof of that. Now here's something that a lot of people feel but almost never talk about. You're petting your cat. Everything is fine, nothing is wrong. And out of nowhere, something moves through you. Not quite sadness, not quite joy. Something that sits right in between and feels, just for a second, almost too big for the moment you're in, and you let it pass. You move on. You don't mention it to anyone. A researcher named William Worden spent years studying grief. Not just the grief that comes after someone dies, but grief that gets stored, set aside. Grief connected to losses that never got fully felt because the conditions were never safe enough to feel them. And another researcher, Babette Rothschild, showed that the body holds on to that emotional material. It doesn't disappear. It waits, patiently, for a moment safe enough to finally let it out. Your cat may have become that moment. The warmth, the physical closeness, the consistency. These are exactly the conditions under which the nervous system finally lowers its guard. And when that happens, what's been waiting behind the guard sometimes rises. What you feel in those quiet moments isn't about your cat. It's what your body is finally allowing itself to feel, with your cat as the witness safe enough to receive it. You're not sad because of your cat. You're finally sad with your cat. That's a completely different thing. A woman in our community wrote something I want you to sit with. She said she used to cry when her cat slept on her chest and could never explain it to anyone. Her childhood hadn't been obviously difficult, but it had been lonely. And she said, "I think I cried because I finally had proof that something could love me this quietly." And understanding that made me realise, for the first time, how long I had gone without it. If you've ever felt something unexpected in the quiet moments with your cat, don't explain it away next time. Just sit with it. Ask yourself what it reminds you of. You don't have to answer out loud, but the question matters. Because what comes up in those moments doesn't belong to your cat, it belongs to your history. And it's been waiting a long time for somewhere safe enough to arrive. And now the last thing, the one that reframes everything we've talked about. Because this one isn't about what your cat has been doing for you. It's about what loving your cat has been slowly doing to you, without you ever choosing it, without you even noticing it was happening. Think about who you are when you're with your cat. You notice when they haven't eaten. You adjust things for their comfort. You use a softer voice. You pay attention to their moods. You anticipate what they need before they've found a way to show it. When they scratch you or knock something over, you forgive them immediately, completely, without resentment, without keeping score. You show up for them every single day. Not because you have to, because something in you simply will not let them go without. You think that's all just love for your cat. It is. But there's something living underneath it. Psychologists who study how we form healthy emotional patterns have found something powerful. When people consistently practice warmth, patience, forgiveness, and unconditional care, even in one relationship, their nervous system begins to recalibrate. It starts to experience that kind of love as normal, as the standard, as what relationships are supposed to feel like. There's a word for what can happen in that process: reparenting. It means, consciously or not, giving yourself the emotional experiences that weren't given to you when you needed them most. You've been doing that every day with your cat. The way you love your cat, the patience, the forgiveness, the total consistency, the showing up no matter what, is the way you needed to be loved. And by practicing it every single day, without thinking, without keeping track, without anyone asking you to, you have been quietly teaching your nervous system what love is actually supposed to feel like from the inside. Your cat has been the place where you learned that. Let that land for a second. Because when you really sit with it, the fact that the gentleness you give your cat so easily, so naturally, so without question, is the exact gentleness you always deserve to receive, something shifts. A recognition. Sometimes quiet, sometimes not. Someone sent us a message that I have thought about ever since. They said, "I realised I have never once made my cat feel like a burden. I've never made them feel like too much. And then I thought, why have I spent my whole life letting people make me feel that way? My cat never accepted less than what I gave. maybe I shouldn't either. That right there. That's what this relationship has been building toward. You have not just been taking care of your cat has been, slowly, gently, at exactly the pace your nervous system could handle, teaching you what love is supposed to feel like, and what you are supposed to feel like inside of it. Pay attention to how you treat your cat when nobody is watching, because that is the love you are capable of. That is the love you have always been capable of. And somewhere, the version of you that needed it the most is grateful that you finally found a place to give it a home. Carl Jung once wrote, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." You didn't just find a cat, you found a relationship that asked nothing from you, except that you show up, and in showing up, every day, without conditions, without keeping score, you discovered that you were capable of that kind of love all along. That is not a small thing. That is everything.